Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Ashram. It's with grateful pronounce we celebrate the gracious blessings of Bhagwan. Once again, we know for sure this is no small grace. So again and again and again, let us remember and celebrate this moment, because God has made this moment fruitful. The life's purpose is served. The purpose of life, whoever we are and wherever we are, is only God. God remembrance is the goal of life. So for 1 hour, the life has been made fruitful. We shall see how Bhagwan's grace once again took over somebody's life. His grace has touched many, many, many lives. And the miracle of transformation is going on without much revelation to other people. Bhagwan often said, this beggar is with you and within you. But then, to wake up this grace that has gone to sleep for long, we need to remember, chant His name, and invoke His blessings. The awakening must happen. Shri Alberto is from Italy. In 1984, he had come to India because there was a longing in his heart. He came, he went round, he came up to Kanyakumari, lived in Tiruvannamalai for 1 full month. He went around Arunachala, climbed up, sat in meditation in Ramanashram, and drew a lot of inspiration and blessings from Arunachala. But then after that, just before he left India, his holiday was over, he ran into a French lady, and as soon as he mentioned that he spent 1 month in Tiruvannamalai, she exclaimed, she asked him if he met up with Yogi Ramsuratkumar, the living saint in Tiruvannamalai. He was taken aback because he didn't know there was a living saint. How could he miss him? In 84, Bhagwan had come and settled down in the Sannidhi Street House already. Yet, many people did not know him. So he regretted so much. Though he lived here, he could not meet. He very much regretted. And then made a vow that next time, when he should visit, he should have darshan of Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. He went back to States, and there, after some time, he began to take an apartment for rent. Somebody had to go away, and the apartment was temporarily vacant. They were prepared to sublet it to him. He happily took it up, and when he started to live there, he noticed a photograph on the table, the owner of the apartment with a magnetic personality standing there in the photograph. Alberto was drawn to this man who was standing with the owner of the apartment, his friend. And then he asked the owner said, "The living saint of Tiruvannamalai, Yogi Ramsuratkumar." And again there was a pang of regret that he did not meet him. Alberto started to feel very much how he could have possibly missed out. And then it also happened that this owner, his friend, was attending Thursday sessions of Shri Hilda Charlton. She was 80 years old. She was an evolved soul. And she had lived for 18 years in India. What was more, she was very fond of Yogi Ramsuratkumar. She was drawn to him, and she made her kids, she used to call them kids, her disciples, her devotees. Many people would gather in a congregation, and then they would sing the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. Alberto somehow picked up this Nama, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. At that time, Bhagwan was singing Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru, Jaya Guru, Jaya Guru Raya. So, he had picked up that Nama and he was already singing sometimes. Now this friend of his, the apartment owner, was singing the name in a different way, and he was attracted again. In 1986, he came to India again, and this time he knew he just could not leave India without visiting Yogi Ramsuratkumar of Tiruvannamalai. He first travelled in the southern tip of India. He went to Kanyakumari, and then there are these mountains there that side. the Western Ghats, the Eastern Ghats. Near Kanyakumari, there was a mountain. That's a mountain. It's called Maruthuvamalai. It's also called Marunduvalmalai or something. And there, he visited another saint's ashram with a friend of his. As soon as he went inside, he saw the photograph of Nayanar Swami. It was the ashram of Nayanar Swami. So he went there, paid his respects, and then he found two photographs of two other saints on one side and two other photographs of two other saints on the other side. And among the four of them, there was one particular photo which drew his attention and interest immediately. That's none other than Yogi Ramsuratkumar himself. Once again, he went near, completely absorbed in the personality that he could visualize in the photograph. And he was thinking, my God, I must go to Tiruvannamalai. And just then, it was morning time, maybe about 7 o'clock or something. The sunlight was bright now, and there was a beam of sunlight entering the hall where this picture was, and out of nowhere flew a bird, probably a pigeon. He had not mentioned which bird it was. Must have been a pigeon, and it flew inside, went and sat on the frame of Yogi Ramsuratkumar's photograph. What a wonder! How could this happen? His friend acknowledged that it never happened before. The one time this friend Alberto was there, it happened. The bird flew inside with the sunlight and sat on the frame, and Alberto knew instantly it was Yogi Ramsuratkumar's invitation, acknowledgement of his longing. It's his invitation to come and visit. He felt very happy and overwhelmed. And then, of course, he had to go to Pondicherry before coming to Tiruvannamalai. He did not know much about the whereabouts of Yogi Ramsuratkumar. So, he went and stayed in Pondicherry, and there he ran into another friend, an Indian friend. And to his surprise and wonder, this Indian friend knew so much about Bhagwan. What was more, he started to relate his experiences with Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan of Tiruvannamalai. Very delightful, absolutely delighted. Alberto joined him in their next visit to Bhagwan, the Sannidhi Street House. Alberto said, as soon as they went inside, Bhagwan called them in. There was such happiness and tender love on his face. After they were seated, Bhagwan asked for his name, and as soon as he knew that this visitor was from Italy, a learned conversation went on between the two. Bhagwan asked him several questions on Italy. So much so, Alberto felt that Bhagwan knew much more than he could ever know. Bhagwan talked about Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, the famous painters, the world-famous, world-renowned painters. And then the influence of the Greeks upon the European history, European culture. The Greek culture was pretty strong, very influential. So Bhagwan went into details of how the European culture was affected. And then the influence of Rome, the World War, Mussolini, the dictator, and even mafia. He was absolutely overwhelmed, Alberto, that Bhagwan knew so much about European history, so much about Italy. And in between this punctuation of Bhagwan's jokes, very delightful jokes, the other man was a householder. And so Bhagwan, in lighter vein, would cut jokes with him and then go into cascades of laughter, thunderous cascades of laughter. One thing that Alberto noted was, as suddenly as it started, it would also stop as suddenly. And then there was perfect stillness. And again, he would come out of it, start to laugh, this inimitable laughter of his, peals of laughter, and it would go on and on and on. Says, even 5 minutes, he would be continuously laughing, and it looked as though the whole world laughed with him. What a laugh, what a laughter. It was unstained by any emotion of the world. It was the pure laughter of the divine. And again, as suddenly, he would come to his stillness, and then there would be a very deep, vibrant, inspiring silence. And then, very casually, he would start joking again with a householder, the daily scenes of a household, the jokes of his wife and husband, all that. And suddenly he would turn to Alberto and make a point about Italy, about Europe. It was like a play of Jalatarangam. You know, they used to keep cups, different cups, which would give out different notes. And amongst all this, he noticed something else, which is what drew him more to Yogi Ramsuratkumar. He said, even while laughing, his uproarious laughter, there would be a sudden, sharp glance. For a fraction of a second, moving swiftly from one to the other, a glance that would go deep into his being. It was as if he stood naked before Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and this strange man, the saint, the living saint, had access to the recesses of his being, which he never revealed to anybody. And what was more delightful, that he did not mind being seen by him. Here he was, open, like an object in the glass case. Just imagine Bhagwan talking about history, European history, and cutting jokes with the other householder, and then the stillness, and suddenly sharp, very, very sharp, penetrating glances upon this Italian. And then Alberto knew instantly. It was not just conversation, it was not just Italian history or European history, it was not Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Under this cover of this conversation, however intellectual, however learned it was, and the uproarious laughter, some deep work was going on. That Bhagwan was doing some specific deep work upon him, upon his soul. There was this transformation inside. It was like a sudden attack, and then he felt so many things changing inside him. He could not point out exactly what really changed him, but then he knew that something was going on fast. There was some acceleration. He felt there was the sweetness of a mother and the power of a father. And then he completes the sentence saying, there was this innocence of a child, a pure innocence, untainted by the world. And he says, he was my mother, father, and the child, but no ordinary child. This is God's child. He felt all the three in one, a wondrous blend of all the three. And then when he left, after being blessed by Bhagwan, his lips started chanting, whispering, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar Jai Guru. It came to stay with him. What a beautiful observation that he made. How many of us could do it the very first time? People would generally get lost in the conversation or in the laughter, but he did not miss any dimension of his. Of course, the inner work that Bhagwan was doing directly upon him without letting know anybody, without letting anyone there know about it, without their knowledge. The secret work that he was performing on him, he was not insensitive to. So Alberto says, what a combination this man is. How could he know so much about the European history? How could he know the nuances of the war that happened and the aftermath? The intricacies of the paintings of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. Probably many Italians wouldn't know about them. Now, when I read this, I remembered a sentence from Upanishad. The one who knows the Brahman knows everything. If that is known to someone, everything else is also known. So now that Bhagwan, the Brahmagyani, is here in front of us. I had seen him at work. I had felt the stillness in him for hours. You know, when a top is spinning at a very high speed, there would be an optical illusion. It would look still. It would be spinning so fast, to an onlooker, it would look still. Where there is intense activity, so intense, which is beyond us. The stillness happens. Bhagwan, I had seen him at once, still and intensely acting. How is this possible? How can anyone be so intensely active at different levels at a time? I have no right to describe all this, to discuss the intricacies, the subtleties of the work that was carrying on the cosmic level. And the atmosphere around him, when I sat with him in the Sudama veranda, there would be such intensity that sometimes I would be so afraid if I moved my little finger so much as my little finger, there would be a crackling sound. Such was the vibrant intensity. Now this Bhagwan is here in front of us, eyes completely focused on the scalp, the crown of the head, and the hand raised in benediction speaks of the selfless love of the divine, the all-embracing love of the divine. He is ever ready to alleviate the suffering of people. So we shall submit our today's prayers at his feet. Bhagwan, unless you intervene, bestow that grace which could extricate the world from the clutches of this virulent virus, where is any solution? Where is relief for people, for the world? We seek your immediate intervention to free this world from this pandemic and bring back normalcy, a dharmic normalcy in every aspect of life. It's not possible without the will of the divine. I remember sometimes Bhagwan would say, don't be taken by the appearance of things. If my Father wants it, if my Father chooses, things would change overnight, dramatically. Now we beg you, Bhagwan, again and again, for this dramatic change, so that the world would be free from the fear, from the spread of the disease, and there would be once again hope and cheer in the hearts of people. Please enter the medicine, the vaccine, so that it would kill this virus and its family once for all, without any side effects. And we again seek your blessings for this medicine to reach the right people, people who deserve it, who need it very badly. And Bhagwan, all those people who work in the field tirelessly, day and night, against all the challenges, please give them protection. And we seek your blessings for a boost to the economy, and above all, for constant remembrance of your name, for that's all we can do. The goal of life is only God, wherever you are, in whatever walk of life. This body is given to us only for the remembrance of God. This life is given to us with all its details only for the remembrance of God. Everything about everybody's life, every event about everybody's life is given specifically and specially only for remembrance of God. If you don't learn it the easy way, life would teach you the hard way. We beg you, Bhagwan, again and again, for this constant remembrance of your name and for the right attitude to life, the attitude of gratitude to God, to you, and the attitude of being a fine instrument in your hands. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.